Anyway, my topic is more for pro-socially conservative values, more than so pro-Trump. I used to actually be a really hardcore pro-MAGA guy, not so much anymore. Kind of switched from 2020 to 2022. A lot of events happened there, from the BLM to the insurrection to the invasion of Ukraine. So a lot of that just kind of shifted me over. However, I deeply value socially conservative values. So I wanted to go over that, and typically I have about 3 points: religion, family values, and abortion. I'm yapping a lot. I am a yapper, so if you want to interject.
Yep, give me a point.
Yep.
Let's go with the first one.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Religion.
Yeah.
Personal anecdote, someone close to me believed that Trump was literally the Antichrist, and guess who they voted for?
Donald Trump?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Base.
I feel like a lot of people on the right really see Democrats in such low regard, that even lower than the son of Lucifer himself. So, and of course it's not your fault. This is the work of the gaslighting, the propaganda, and the constant vilification of the right. However, it would help if, I think, some Democratic figures on the left were a little bit more vocal about their faith. So for example, I just recently found out that apparently Jimmy Kimmel is a Christian, and I don't know why it took so long for me to figure that out. It just seems like a lot of people on the left are a little bit more secluded.
I feel like it's very performative on the right, and also I don't know.
I agree.
Like watching that Charlie Kirk shit was crazy. The funeral
thing
or whatever.
Like
I didn't know the evangelical shit. I thought I was watching the televangelist or whatever.
Exactly.
Do you remember what Joe Biden would close like every speech with? It was something along the lines of I love the country and God bless our troops.
Yes.
Right? He said God bless our troops, right?
Yeah.
I think he said that every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody on the right cared as much about that. I feel
they
like it's like a
no.
proxy thing in terms of when it comes to
They
religiosity or whatever. If anything, I feel I've also heard people attack. It was known where Obama went to church, for instance, and his reverend, that was brought up. Jeremiah Wright, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. Biden also constantly went to church with his wife. He was an active churchgoer, practicing Catholic, and no one on the right seemed to care about that.
Yeah.
But it's also, I feel like the left isn't really helping the cause as well. So even Tim Walz, for example, when he was running with Kamala Harris, I found out that he was a believer only when he was debating J.D. Vance. I think that was way too long to wait just to kind of make his faith known. I think it's something, I feel like with a Republican, you know everything about them within the first 5 minutes of their appearance, right?
Sure, but is that an important, not to, what's the one parable of the guy that walks up and makes the big deal about showing or preaching his faith in public, and then the poor woman loser throws in 2 silver coins, and Jesus she's way cooler than the other guy? You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Okay. It has to do with there's a parable where I think there's a guy that walks up and he makes a huge show of donating a huge amount of money, and everybo's like, oh my god.
And then the lady gives
awesome.
all she has, but it's just a few coins.
It's a few coins, but it's not just that she gives a lot. I think it's also that she does it humbly, quietly, or whatever.
Yes, and it's all that she had.
What?
I think the point was that she did it humbly, she did it quietly, but it's also everything she had. She gave all of it.
Maybe that too. But the being ultra performative about your religion and ultra performative about your belief. I guess you can appeal to a certain type of religious person that way, but I feel like that's a bad practice even of your religion. So I don't even know how you would try to appeal to the people that really like that.
I agree with you on that. I think it's just
actually, I feel like most Catholics in the United States, this is a vibe I got. I don't know the polling.
They don't like a lot of the evangelical stuff, I don't think.
Yeah, but they also didn't like the last pope.
This
is God 2.0 basically to you guys. This is directly from Peter. I built my church on this rock, whatever bullshit. How do you guys not like the fucking pope? That's crazy. I feel like when people are saying things like, I disagree with the pope's moral stance about fucking immigration and borders, I'm like, damn, that's something that seems to be more important there than the religious part that's powering them. I feel like I only say this because I feel like over the past 5 or 10 years, as a hardcore atheist, I guess, but I feel like the Democratic Party's had a healthy engagement with religion. They're not afraid to do the bless your troops or whatever. They're not afraid to say that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good place right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But it's like you said, Vosh, when he went on his anti-religion tour, I think he lost 20% of his audience or something like that. So
you think say that last part again?
When Vosh went on his anti-religion tour, he's going on it right now or something like that. ARC. He's losing a portion of his audience.
His audience is so godless.
Yeah.
Unironically, I feel like his audience would be super secular and atheist.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think every politician should do that. I'm pretty mean towards religious stuff, but I'm not trying to run for office. Yeah,
that's okay.
And I don't think the Democratic Party should copy my messaging.
That's totally okay.
Yeah.
That's always healthy, a little bit of a edginess.
Sure. Here, I guess I'll ask before we move on to the next point. What is like one thing that you think the Democratic Party should do better in terms of appealing?
Are we time limited?
Time
constrained?
A little. The guy.
Okay.
Travis said we were. So yeah. But
sorry,
but what's
guys.
what's the thing you think that they could do to like message better or do better on the religious part?
Cool. Family values.
No, wait. Answer my question. What do you think is the thing the Democratic Party could do better to message on religious values?
On religious.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Dude, it would be so sick if Gavin Newsom hosted a prayer night. That would break conservatives' brains. Like next time there's like a PNW fire or something like that, if Gavin Newsom just got organized with religious leaders, with pastors, and he hosted a prayer night, that would absolutely break conservatives' brains. They wouldn't know how to respond to that. It would be epic troll, but it would also just kind of be really uniting, I think. What do you think about that?
That would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
I would say it'd be interesting.
It's
I
like
don't know
the meme where Gavin Newsom is being preyed on by it's an AI generated meme, but I feel like. Yeah, I mean, you kind of just flipping the cards back on them,
Sure. Okay.
But I just think.
Well, Trump had that. Somebody in the audience asked, "Has Trump had a prayer night?" Mm-hmm. Didn't Trump put some crazy religious lady as the head of whatever?
Yeah, she's the tongue-speaking one, and actually Catholics, I think, seem to hate her.
Well, we don't believe in that tongue-speaking shit, so I don't think we do.
Yeah.
But okay. So next thing was
I'll move on to family values. I just got a couple more points. I feel
Trump does do the performative. He would hold up the Bible and he'd be like, "I would always say this guy is the best book in the world."
Dude, this guy such a degenerate. When he was asked what's his favorite verse in the Bible, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I like the whole book. The Old Testament, the New Testament." Yeah. And then he was asked can you give us at least one verse from the Bible? He's like, "You know what? It's kind of personal. I don't really want to say it." Dude, this guy couldn't even say John 3:16, the most basic one you could possibly say. It's that easy. It's like.
That's how little he cares. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that should be another thing where if the religious part was important, it's hard in politics because I feel like other traits proxy things so many times. If you're an actual religious person, when you hear Trump say something like that, you know that he's never opened a Bible in his fucking life, right? But they don't care. They don't seem to care.
They don't care.
Also, they excuse all of the moral degeneracy as well.
They excuse the fact that he was divorced 3 times. The fact, he
was banging a prostitute while his wife was at home with a newborn.
Absolutely. He's incestuous, talks about his daughters in an absolutely disgusting way.
Yeah.
Openly brags about, grabbing a woman by the vaginas. And then when he's accused from a woman of being grabbed by the vagina, then all his maggot cultish followers, the Trump-tards, the trumpets, are all
not.
They're like, no, he would never do that. How dare you even accuse him? That's slander. That's,
Yeah, it's not good. Okay, second point. Go.
Cool.
Family values. What do you got?
Family values. So we hear a lot about from the right of this idea of the nuclear family. Have you heard of this, the nuclear family?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay, so and I actually think that Democrat figures, especially the more prominent ones, politicians, have a better example of such family values, right? If we look at some of the prominent Republican figures like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who committed infidelity and had basically cheated on her husband with her sex guru yoga instructor. If we look at Lauren Boebert, who basically openly out in the open was giving handjobs to her boyfriend, who by the way owns a gay bar. Does anyone here know that her boyfriend owns a gay bar? Raise of hands. Okay, one person in this whole room knows that her boyfriend owns a gay bar that is drag friendly, and this is a prominent conservative leader that is I'm assuming very anti-LGBT, very anti-gay, and I'm surprised that not a lot of people know that. I feel like the liberal media has kind of failed on that messaging. These people should constantly be shamed, constantly exposed. They should never feel safe,
Careful.
Okay, not in Minecraft.
Being degenerates.
Right. They should never feel safe going on TV or in office and showing their faces and not feel shame. But these people just get away with it. They're complete degenerates. They do all the stuff that they preach that they're against or that are contradictory to the values or the virtues that are biblical.
And they should be called out more on it.
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
Right. And then, of course, Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Right. The disgraced Matt Gaetz now, who resigned, allegedly sex trafficking a 17-year-old, and of course the big man himself, Donald Trump, who we already discussed that. And then
did bad things. Yep, he did bad things as well. Give me point with 3. Travis is about to cut you off, so give me your third point there. He's going to cut you off soon, so give me the third point you got. Yeah.
Okay.
You said family values, and then what was the third
one? And then
one?
abortion.
Okay.
So am I correct that over the last 3 years, it's the Democrats like Obama and Clinton that were responsible for lowering abortion rates by 40% or something? Does that sound right?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's 36 to 40%. So Democrats have actually done a lot more to cut abortion rates in half, which I think is a good thing. We can all agree on that. Abortion is something that is deeply traumatic. It's a difficult experience. And ideally, we don't want abortions, right? So Democrats actually over the last 30 years have a better track record of lowering abortion rates. And we don't really hear that. from the Democratic side, and instead we allowed the right to hijack the pro-life and all these like, labels, which sound virtuous. They sound better. I mean, pro-life does sound kind of better than pro-choice. We allowed them to hijack that, and so the left is kind of like strapped into this cuck chair that is bolted into the ground. Meanwhile, the right is just kind of like,
Yeah, I mean, like this is a point I've argued in the past too, but something is happening in the conservative brain, which is hard to break through because I'll point out things. I think generally the way that Democrats are able to fight against the amount of abortions happening is because they support things like contraception or teaching kids in school.
Absolutely.
Safe sex
education, contraceptives, ease of access,
But the issue then is that like Republicans will just turn the argument over to like, well, kids shouldn't be exploring that stuff and it's not properly taught in the schools. Like that shouldn't happen anyway. Like they seem to immediately not care about it anyway. Actually, I'm making this up, right? It wasn't Ben Shapiro in my debate on Lex Friedman. Ben Shapiro didn't say maybe it would be good if like 15-year-olds were having kids. Did he say that? Does anybody remember that?
I think Charlie Kirk even said that if his daughter was...
I feel like I was debating a well-known conservative or watching a well-known conservative debate where the concept of like, what if like a 15-year-old gets pregnant and like the conservative brought up, well, maybe it'd be good for families. I feel like Ben might have said that on debate. And I was like, that's an unhinged
Wouldn't
position.
surprise me.
Yeah. So I mean... I understand the concept. Like I feel like there might be middle ground positions. I think maybe that you could take on abortion, maybe, but
abortions went up by like 8% under Trump's first term. Like I feel like that should be really problematic for the Republicans, the party that is allegedly pro-life, allegedly wants to lower abortion rates.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I feel like this is one of those things that I addressed one or two callers ago, where the guy talked about like an issue, and I'm like, it might be a thing, but there's like a more rotted fundamental issue first, because I can already see like if you bring any of this up, with any of these people, the excuses are going to start to come out, and they're not going to care because we're like it's so divorced in reality. I think that if we had like a better shared like factual understanding of what's going on, then I think you could hold them to account for these numbers. But you've seen me do it on stream. You should find fucking conservatives sometimes and argue with these people, and they have like an escape for every single thing. Like one stat that
they're snakes. They find a way to wiggle themselves out. Yeah.
The what?
They're like snakes. They can wiggle themselves out of anything.
Kind of, yeah. Like the one stat that's been getting posted a lot, I've seen it in my sub a lot, is the idea that like it was like 98% of all jobs created in the past 30 years have happened under Democratic administrations, and like they can try to argue their way out of that. But I think that it was like 2 nights ago or 4 nights ago where I literally had a guy on stage and I was like asking him, why did Biden have so much inflation? And it was like pulling teeth to get him to say inflation. And I even like set him up. I was like, watch this, audience.
The COVID one?
Yeah, and then I asked him, I was like, well, what happened in Trump year 4? And he was like, COVID, immediately. And I'm like, Jesus, what the fuck?
I was paying attention. I watched your last two live streams.
I feel like it's hard to argue with somebody who I don't feel like they believe sometimes the things that they say, or they're just ended up being proxies for like other things that are like less important. It's hard to navigate that environment where the media is like also feeding them so many lines and narratives. There are so many aspects of Trump's life that if Obama emulated one of these things, especially, not to be too whatever, but especially as a black guy, if Obama would have been fucking a porn star when Michelle Obama was at home with a newborn kid, we would never, ever hear the end of that.
That's the thing, though, man, is Obama, Walz, the Bidens, the Clintons even, like, you don't hear these scandals regarding...
You don't, but it's because of the other thing where like conservatives control this media environment.
Yes.
Like when I saw people blowing up Biden over the leaked text from between him and Hunter, and they're just like the nicest, most concerned dad texts like in the world. I'm like, you guys are demons. What's going on here? Or the idea that like none of the stuff that Trump did mattered, but like I remember watching, like I said, there's a lot of mean this in her fucking Air Force fatigues or whatever they're wearing. I remember my mom crying over the Monica Lewinsky stuff because it was such a horrible thing for the commander-in-chief to do.
I wanted to get right into that if I can interject.
All right, final thoughts there, Dan. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts, man.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, the thing about Monica Lewinsky too, right? That's like one of the only Democratic administrations that has had like a conflict. And even then, if you look at it, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, what is the result of their marriage right now? Right? They're together. They overcame this hurdle that they had in their marriage. They're together.
That's a way to put it, yeah.
I guess, yeah. They're together now. And to me, if I was a troll, if I was sitting here, I would tell you that is a perfect example of a God-honoring marriage right there. Unlike, this degenerate Trump who just divorces. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sympathetic to what you're saying, but like I've argued these things in the past. Conservatives will just outright say, "I don't care about Trump's moral character. That's not relevant." And
so you don't think that Democrats should appeal to some? So like,
I think they should, but I think that this goes in part larger to like the whole media apparatus thing.
I also don't think that it's about appealing and trying to like reach out to moderates or conservatives. I think it's just about reclaiming your moral authority. Don't be.
It is. I agree. It just can't be one section. That doesn't. It has to be like everybody.
Yeah.
Together.
Totally.
But if we were like all aligned, there are so many options that we could like engage.
Absolutely.
With,
so I figure I'm out of time. Is that right?
All right. Thanks, Dan. Everyone,
man.
put your hands together for Dan. Rock and roll. Thank you so much. And keep it going for Donald Trump's worst nightmare, Destiny. Woohoo!
Thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. We'll be doing signings in 5 minutes, and good luck in the fight against ICE and in the fight against the perpetual state of war that your city is apparently engulfed in. Yeah.
We're here for you guys. I mean that. Seriously.